Welcome everyone to Loud and Proud Orlando, April 29th, 7:40 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you so much for being live with us. Not the best of moments right now for Orlando City. Horrible, horrible, terrible, terrible defeat against come on, man. Terrible defeat against Toronto. Definitely hurts because it was in front of 21,000 people. So, there's people already, pulling out their pitchforks. They're already, ironing their cardboards. They already bought a bunch of Sharpies at Michael's, to write, you know, people are going to protest. People are going to go riled out the troops. They're going to stand outside the stadium, you know, to demand change, right? And they are within their right. I feel like they are within the right. I think it was an awful performance by the Lions. This time we scored first, and then the whole game went sour. There were a lot of mistakes. Brecalo apparently is injured, and I have a rumor that one of my colleagues in Brazil has pointed out to me today that we will discuss later on and see how that maybe it's something that Orlando it's doing. So stick around with LPO. We are live right now on YouTube, on X, and also on Instagram. For all our people from Instagram, this live will be up for about an hour. The link of the show, it's available on our bio. So just go there, drop us a thumbs up to watch the whole episode, as well as drop us your comments. If you're on X, retweet this on your Twitter, on your X, retweet it. And if you're on YouTube, thank you so much for your support. Subscribe and drop us a comment. John, how are you, my friend? I know it's not the best of days. We're going to be diving into what happened with Toronto. And, I did a lot of crying this weekend, driving back from Intercoast Stadium and reading a lot. How are you, my friend?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, man. I'm kind of over the hump of that's Saturday night was
It was
very
disastrous.
frustrating. Very,
Yeah.
very, very, very frustrating. And yeah, I sympathize with everybody who's frustrated. I don't have
Sure.
I 100% agree with that. It was a classic, we threw it away, and we did throw it away, and there's no excuse for that. And I blame Oscar and I blame the players. And I think that we were holding on to that 1-0, and it just wasn't enough to hold on to. In the second half, they really came back into it. And I think Bernadeschi heard what I said about him, Luis. I think he heard that I questioned his quality, because that guy he looked like a DP, Bernadeschi of yesteryear. Step aside for real Bernadeschi. So I think overall it was just, you can't lose home games right now, and you cannot lose home games in that manner. Like that's the reason everybody has such an emotional reaction, Luis, more than, like, everyone gets upset when we lose anyway. But that one is like gut punchingly bad loss because of the way it happened, and the just epic ending that was a massive failure. Honestly, it was. We shat the bed royally, right? That's what I would say. We shat the bed.
Yeah, I mean that there was from the get-go. I'm going to say this. I feel in this scenario, in this game, this was not a Kyle Smith game, because if you had Bernardeschi and the whole TFC team, which I will have to say, fantastic job. They studied Orlando City to the T. There are teams that do their homework. TFC was one of them that did their homework, and you have to give kudos to them. Herdman, their coach, studied Orlando City back and forth. And pretty much we allowed Bernardeschi to grow in momentum when we made the substitution of to Kyle Smith. Not to say that Kyle shot the bed. I'm not saying that at all. Kyle has always bailed us out. He's a phenomenal player. But what I'm trying to say is just the pace. Kyle is not a pacey guy. Kyle,
Speed is not his friend.
right. So Bernardeschi turned it up a notch in the second half. Both goals came from him assisting those goals. Also, the consistency of Rodri, which had a phenomenal game up to after the when they leveled. Rodri and also Cesar Araujo, I believe. We'll see the video later on. They let Owusu roam free Spicer roam free in the middle. So, and he completely did an amazing goal right there. They leveled it up with justice, I believe, because Toronto was going all out. They brought all the guns out at that point. Now, definitely a lineup that started, in my opinion, and it was surprising. We didn't really get it right, John. We got the lineup with Muriel starting, and we'll talk about Muriel in just a moment. Muriel starting, right? And Ojeda right below him as the number 10. Facu on the left and Ivan Angulo on the right. I do want to say, when I first saw this, I said, okay, all three of them are going to interchangeably move positions. They didn't do that. I saw Facu stay on the left. I saw Martin stay in the middle, and I saw Ivan stay in the right the whole time. I don't know, what are your thoughts regarding the lineup that was brought up?
Yeah, I mean, I think we talked a lot about the Muriel versus Duncan debate. Like I was up for having Duncan in there, not personally. Like I didn't have a problem with that. I think it was more that we didn't see Oscar dropping Luis Muriel, so it was interesting to see that he did do that, and he said, "Okay, I got to play Duncan in this one." Whether it's again a question of did Duncan earn it, like he got all the goals to earn it, or was it just Oscar being like, this game I want to start Duncan and bring Muriel off the bench? Like that's how he saw it tactically. I don't know, because it might be that he puts Muriel back in the starting 11. Like I know people don't want to hear that, but that's something he could do, right? The same with Rafa Santos and Kyle Smith. We were predicting Kyle Smith based on what we've seen, and yeah, like definitely in this one he put Rafa there because he goes the pace of Bernardeschi is a problem, and we saw that he was dealing with that the first half pretty well for Rafa. Like this year, I think that was probably the best performance we've seen from him in that first half. He did a really good job. And then I think, yeah, I agree. It was the wrong decision by Oscar to bring on Kyle at that moment and the wrong guy to put there. But it goes back to what I think is that we don't have another left back. We don't have another pacey left back. So it's almost like Oscar was like thinking, maybe he was thinking Rafa was getting a bit tired and was going to start losing Bernardeschi, and he thought, okay, I'm going to bring on Kyle because I know he can defend. But I think he underestimated the issue of pace. Like you said, the Bernardeschi was just smoking Kyle like every time, and that's how basically the last two goals got scored. So I think that Oscar maybe should have helped when he saw that, or Kyle should have said something and got one of the other guys. Like we blame Oscar, but these are the guys on the field. So if Kyle's getting killed by Bernardeschi, he's gotta call someone. He's gotta tell Angulo. He's gotta figure it out. And maybe that was part of it. That Angulo was on the right wing, so we didn't have Angulo on the left side helping out like left back like he usually does.
Right.
And so, like, that was okay when Rafa was on the field, but really we could have maybe then that should have been a switch. Like, I will blame Oscar for those substitutions because I do think they killed the game, but I do also think that we got to blame the players for not helping Kyle. Like, he's getting killed, and Kyle, I blame him for not saying anything and being like, hey guys, I'm getting smoked over here. We need to figure this out. Or Oscar, like, we need to change it. I think it's definitely that Oscar makes the decisions, but the players they're the ones out on the field. They got to react when something's not going. They've got to say, okay, Kyle's going to put his hand up and say, I need help. And that's okay. But
yeah,
if you don't do that and you just keep getting killed and Oscar doesn't change anything, that's how you end up. Like the writing was on the wall, Luis. I sent you
Right.
the momentum. Sorry to keep going, but one last point. Um, I sent you the momentum on FootMob just to put on screen. The first half versus the second half,
Yeah.
night and day. First half was all us, and I think that we took our foot off the gas. That's probably Oscar's decision. That's probably the wrong decision here, maybe too early, but also the game got killed by the subs that we made. And the second half, it was like, it's coming. This goal is coming. That one I expected. I didn't expect them to completely, fall apart and let the second goal in. That I did not expect, I will say. I expected the equalizer. And it's just a shame that we don't get two goals, at least when we're up in momentum. We got one goal. We are up in the first half. Second half, it was all them. And they crawled it back and then some.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this. To me, in the first half, we dominated for sure. But I will say again, the lack of finishing is completely dooming Orlando City, man. I
We
mean,
did not get our two goals in that first half when we should have, Luis.
that's right. We should have, and even Duncan McGuire brought it up on post press conference. He said, if we would have scored two goals, he said it. If we would have scored two goals, like we would have maybe maybe at least held on a little bit, right? This would have ended up just at least us grabbing 1 point, even though it's unacceptable because you have to win at home. Um, we would have at least grabbed one. We would have not taken the L, right? 8 shots, 3 on the frame. We score 1 goal. We got a Martino Hayes free kick. We had also Maguire stepping offside, right? We also had missed shots. And one thing, it's driving me insane. And I asked Profe, and I never really got a clear answer. And I'm going to say it live because I asked the tough questions. Uh, the overpassing. It's like I'm watching a half-ass FC Barcelona. It's like they're passing the
You don't
ball,
like
man.
the
It's like,
tiki taka, Luis? You don't want the
bro,
tiki
it's
taka
just
all day?
look. I can take tiki taka at certain level, but when I'm in the MLS and I'm not in Catalonia, it's annoying, bro. Because and that's how I understand the fans' frustration. Because you have to understand it, especially for casual fans that come to the game, is their first time, second time watching the game. They're into like baseball and football and all that stuff. They come and they expect goals, right? And obviously, you have to understand they're playing the possession game. They're playing all these short passing, dude. And one thing that I will say again, the difference between last year's Toronto to this year's Toronto is that physically, this Toronto this year, they're 120%. They were matching the intensity of the pressing of Orlando City the whole game. And in the second half, they leveled up a notch. They were forcing Orlando City to make mistakes because of those short passes and the turnover rate that Orlando City was having. Orlando was getting the ball. Cesar will pass it back, and then Rodri will pass it forward, and then it became this whole passing situation. It was just like they get to the attacking third and no one scores. So that sincerely needs to change. I feel like it needs to change. I think it's crazy, and definitely the frustration is there. Let's read some comments real quick. Stream Jesus, let it out, loved ones. I know things are rough right now, but we are the Lions. We never give up. We keep hunting. There you go. Thank you, Jesus. Appreciate it. We got clobbered, respectfully. that's right. That's a great one. That's right. You're completely right, Stream Jesus. Calling OCSC, Nico Ladera said it best. We started defending, and then we let Toronto attack, which is where they were comfortable. Bernardeschi versus Kyle Smith. Correct. Tolan Coca, are we going to criticize Pedro, or he's still gelling? Well, let's talk about that. What are your thoughts regarding Pedro on the second goal?
I don't love it from him on the second goal. I think I
He
would
should have
like
done more on the second goal. I
I
agree
would
with
like
you.
him to come and get that one. And I think that's the
Yeah,
thing
for
with
sure.
this year, Pedro Luis, is like every week there's something with Pedro. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to think of a week this year when we haven't said like, oh, but he did also do this. Like he's making some saves. I think it's getting better, but I don't love I don't feel super comfortable with him in goal. You know what I mean? Like I'm not like, oh, Pedro's got it anymore. I'm like, oh, what's gonna happen? And that's the difference between this year's Pedro and last year's Pedro. We're starting to lose a little bit of trust in him.
Now, the second goal, he could have done more. That's 110% right. I'm not. It's not like it's shocking to me because I've seen it before. Like I said, I follow his career since he started. So, like, I know for a lot of people it's super shocking because he's gone from being he was this player that no one knew who he was, and then all of a sudden he's one of the cornerstones of the team. And I don't know what's going on. I feel it's just also being a little frustrated, maybe. I don't know. I don't want to assume. I just think that he's going to keep working. Copa America is coming sooner than later. I think he's going to have some time to be with his Peruvian brethren. And, this is going to be a great opportunity for Mason Stadohart to step up. And I do want to say something real quick about Mason. I know there's stuff circulating around his personal life. I have no right to talk about it. And that will be, I'm just going to say it like that. I'm going to keep it like that. So I have, it's not my point. It's not my baloney. But if Mason, it's not there, we have another great goalkeeper, which is Javier Otero, and OCB guy, right? So it's a great opportunity that Pedro, I feel, yeah, maybe he needs a little bit of competition. He needs to see maybe Mason or Otero step up and fight him up. Now, are you gonna be ready? Knowing Oscar Pareja, and I understand the fans are ready to, are allowed to speak their voice, but do you really think, honestly, deep heart in your heart, he's gonna bench Galese?
I'm I think with Gillette says this, Luis. I think there's an opportunity when he goes away for international with Peru, and he goes away during like what is it, Copa America. He's probably going to be gone during Leagues Cup time, I imagine. I'm not 100% on the dates, but I think when that happens, whoever Mason or not Mason or Javier Artero, they have an opportunity in that situation. If they really shine, maybe there's a chance that when Pedro comes back, they're questioning whether he gets back in. I think I'm with you, and I don't see just Oscar just straight dropping him.
Yeah, I don't see him dropping
And then
him,
I didn't see him
but
dropping Muriel, but like I said, it might not be that he's dropping Muriel all the time. It might have just been one game. Who knows?
look, I'm right there at the press conferences. I'm right there at the games. I've been following the team for a long time. I've watched soccer since I was born. Obviously, that doesn't make me more qualified or less qualified than anybody, but I do want to say that that's not gonna, like, if I cannot change things around, and and it's all about Pedro and Oscars to figure it out what's gonna happen. It's not for me to also speculate that he's gonna be benched. Now, I can certainly be frustrated and say it on Twitter. Yeah, I think he deserves to be benched, and let's put Jack Lynn to be the goalkeeper of Orlando City, right? But that's not going to happen. Realistically, that's not going to happen. Now, I do agree that there's going to be a huge opportunity for our goalkeeper corps when Pedro goes away, and maybe that's what he needs to step it up after Copa America. He's gonna need that to step it up. So, but other than that, you have to understand. We gotta understand that Pedro has also done a lot of good things for Orlando City. I think his best soccer, and I would say this because I followed his career since he started. His best football has been played here. He took a leap in growth thanks to the Oscar Pareja's goalkeeping staff. Before that, they will. He was an all right goalkeeper in Peru that played in Mexico and got benched. But with Cesar Baena, which I want to say Coach Baena, and people there for Oscar, he skyrocketed. And not only that, the national team stuff also, he did phenomenal there. He became a co-captain there because of his great momentum. So we just need to see that. I think the fans wants to see that back, but also you have to understand we are lacking in so many. We're not scoring goals, John. So obviously all the
Yeah.
pressure, it's gonna be, if Galese doesn't get to one, it's gonna all the spotlight gonna go on him because back in the day he saved us from all this stuff, right?
I think it's important to look like at the stats and look at like the past and remember like with Pedro what he's done. Agreed. Looking at this year, according to FootMob, he has a 55% save percentage, which in other years I think for Pedro would be like 75%.
Mm-hmm.
And this year he's just not like saving those extra things that he would do, like pulling out incredible saves all the time. And we're seeing that difference. So he's faced 38 shots on target, apparently, 17 of which have come into goals, which is a XGOT faced, if you care about these things, of 13.86.
Uh,
So, Luis, just I know you're not a stat guy, but just to give you some idea, I think in
no,
other
I
years his save
of course,
percentage
of
would have
course.
been better. I'm not saying that he's, you know, like completely trash. I just think he's going through a rough patch, but the whole team is going through a rough patch.
The backline is doing horrible. We have the worst
And
backline in the
agreed,
MLS.
like it's been worse, like more exposed. Like our goals, the amount of goals we conceded this year is unlike anything we've seen and since Oscar's got here. The defense is just we're just leaking. With every game, it's one or two goals. So I think that's not helping Pedro's case either.
Now
I'm
we're
not.
gonna
I'm
read
not like.
comments.
I don't think he should go out yet. I think
We're
let's give him
gonna
a bit more time
Yeah, we're
and
gonna
see.
read comments. Yeah, we're gonna read comments in just a second, and then we're gonna analyze the goals real quick. Duncan's goal. We're gonna talk about Duncan McGuire. Uh, I do want to give some breaking news. Hold on. breaking news.
Play the music.
Hold on. There you go. Nice. This is epic. All right. Sources in Brazil. A source, a friend of mine, that works in a big outlet in Brazil, has advised me, texted me today and said, hey, there are two teams right now trying to put a bid for Thiago Silva, Chelsea center back. One of them is Al Nasser in Saudi Arabia. And reportedly, Brazilian sources, say, don't kill the messenger, Orlando City may be interested in Thiago Silva. Now, I don't know if now you have to understand he's going to be leaving Chelsea out of free. So he'll be able to negotiate with any club he wants. Also, you have Brazilian club Fluminense that has already been talking to him. And, he's Antonio Carlos's new team, right? Fluminense. So the ball is in Thiago Silva's court on see what they can do. It's a rumor, guys, but I think that the front office is on notice, and I see a lot of people putting comments on by the front office. I think the front office knows what's going on. I think they realize we gotta do something, right? So that's the stuff. That's what I wanted to just kind of say out loud right now. There's interest, according to my source. Nothing truly as tangible, but it is a rumor that's going around in Brazil about Thiago Silva's future. And they mentioned Kaká, Nani. They mentioned also Alexander Pato. So, you know, it is what it is. I don't know. What are your thoughts, John, regarding those breaking news?
I mean, I was a little skeptical when he was going to go to Chelsea because of his age, and I was like, is he actually going to still be able to like run in the Premier League? And he still looks like a very good center back. I think he definitely, as Nucky said, he's 39. So I don't love signing aging center backs, even
I
though
agree.
he is very, the quality of him, and I think he's in that level of intelligence where he uses his positioning like Jansen does and doesn't really get caught out too much, but still, it would be a concern of mine at that age. Signing, I think we need faster, younger center backs, uh, in my opinion. But also, we heard this rumor before, so it might just be. I don't know. I mean, I know your source.
I mean, it might be a rehash, right? Right?
It
That's what
might
you're
be a
saying.
rehash. I know
It
your
might be a
source
rehash.
is
Yeah.
legit, but we don't know what he's hearing it from, right? There's always an element of like, hmm. But I wouldn't say no. I think it would be a decent addition. Maybe not the one that I would choose, but I think he's a quality center back. So as long as he could still run, I could still like the problem I would be worried about, like when Muriel, we thought, hey, Muriel could still do it, and yeah, like here we are, and I think we overlooked the fitness of Muriel and his
It's
ability
just that
to be in a
it's like,
physical league. So I don't want to do the same thing with more players and end up with another guy in that boat. But seeing as Thiago Silva's been playing in the Premier League like right now, I think it's probably okay. I don't know.
well, let's see. Like I said, it's a rumor. I mean, again, it's not like it's something tangible. But I mean, if Orlando City's name is being thrown out in Brazil as a potential suitor for a big name like Thiago Silva, a proven leader, I think no one can say that he's a proven leader. He's a proven leader. He's a great center back. Yes, he's 39 years old, but I mean, you have to understand also a lot of factors come into place, and a lot of people don't like to say that, but our market comes into place, and who we are as a team, and if he's available, if he wants to really come. So there's a lot of things that come into play. So we'll see what happens. But let's read some more comments. Gnocchi says our front office. No, we never replace players that left with a higher quality players. You have to get better. Okay. Um, Stream Jesus, the gel, the glue is set. Now it has to cure. Misael Rosa, Nico can say anything. The minute he and Muriel came on, we sucked. Well,
I didn't love the performance from Nico. I think Ojeda showed exactly why we need him in the 10. That first
but
half,
yeah,
Ojeda in the 10. I love using the wingers as actual wingers. Like Faku cannot do the cutting in from the right anymore, but maybe he could be an actual left winger. And Ivan is actually a right winger, not a left wing. You see what I'm saying? So just
now what do you think?
use them as wingers. Don't use them as inverted players and feed Duncan or feed Muriel or change the game plan. We can't. Clearly, they're not working as inverted wingers.
So
So
why do you think Nico came on?
I I think
I feel,
Nico. I think Oscar just loves
to hold the
giving out
game,
minutes.
right?
Yeah, he
To
loves to
hold the
hold the
game,
game,
right?
and he sees Martin as an attacking guy. So he goes.
Right,
He
right,
did this with the whole team. He went, I'm going to
right.
bring on guys to shut this down, keep the ball. He wanted Muriel to come on and hold the ball up and like play the ball and be that like dropping in forward. He wanted, Nico to come on and hold the ball more in the middle of the park, maybe play a little deeper than Martin was. And he wanted Kyle on for the same reason at left back to be more defensive. Like he did go for the 1-0, and I think that was a mistake.
And he got. You know what happened with
But
and
he
with
perfect.
I didn't do a mis.
Sorry, go ahead.
I didn't know what Misael said. What happened was he got cooked. Nico got cooked physically.
He
Yes, he's in
he
great
brought on our
shape.
3 slowest guys,
Yeah.
and
So
they all got cooked.
so what happened was Oscar made the change, and then Toronto said, "Hey, I'm gonna put younger guys that with fresher legs." And then I mean, physically, you it just
Well,
the glue
Spicer
the glue was not there.
Spicer
You know
was
what I mean?
exactly that. Like he's their first choice left wing back, and they brought him
Yeah.
on, and we just weren't even able to mark him or like we were paying attention on that first goal that they got because he just came flying into the box unmarked. And other guys that they saved, Luis, to bring on later, like they brought on Matty Longstaff. You know, it was probably their one of their best midfielders. Wasn't starting the game. They had that Wednesday game, so they did it like backwards. But I was also laughing because everyone like we were talking about how Muriel's like when Muriel's on the field we're not scoring, and then when Duncan's on the field we are scoring, and we just did it opposite this game. We just had Duncan on
Yeah,
the start and he scored, and then
exactly.
Muriel came on and didn't score. So I was like, okay, so you've got the exact same outcome basically. You just
Look, that's
you've
another
lost
bad
the game instead
decision.
of not losing the game,
Be-
arguably. So maybe he was better off doing it the other way. I
Duncan
don't
should have
know.
never Duncan should have never came off. He should have not come off.
It was a
I mean,
bad decision, and
because
I would have brought Jack on because Jack would have pressed.
yes,
We
that
stopped
too.
pressing with
You
Muriel on the field.
exactly because you have to understand Muriel has one role in Serie A. He played for him. He's there to score goals. You set me up, bro. I'm not gonna go and run towards the ball, bro. I'm Luis Muriel. I am El Toro. You know, like I don't have to run behind and be a defensive mid for you when I'm not a striker. I don't have to do double duty here. I think that's ingrained on him because that's how he played in Europe. And he also played like that in Colombia. I don't think I've ever seen him fighting in the mid for a ball. You know, I've seen him just score goals. So Duncan, you see him running to the left, running to the right, middle, pressing, like harassing, like going in a good sense of the word. Like you know, being influential on that attacking third, making himself at least if I'm not going to score, I'm going to take the ball away from the rival and I'm going to go in transition and try to set up somebody else. But Muriel is just a straight nine. Like, and that's the thing. It's
Well, that's the question for me is like we've talked about this before, but there's a disconnect somewhere between
yep.
Oscar and Luis and Ricardo because Luis Muriel was never going to work for Oscar. He's not that kind of like you're talking about Duncan. Duncan works. Kyle like Laren worked. DK works because they were guys. Well, not I don't know where I brought Kyle Laren up. But DK works because he was a guy that would work off the ball. Like he would, like you said, he creates his own chances. He actually will run all the time,
Even
press.
Pato, even
Right.
Pato.
Even Pato did that. So like that's why Kara didn't work because Kara didn't do that either. And now we replace Kara with Muriel. You've almost done a like for like in that sense. But Kara scored more goals. So you have another 9 that doesn't work for Oscar. Was that his choice to bring it? Like we know that he like there's the connection there. What did he say? This is the guy. Like yes, I can use him because clearly you can't. So was that Oscar's choice? Was that the GM's choice? Who said this is a good idea and he's going to work for our system? Because I don't see any evidence of that being the case.
Okay. I'll call in OCSC. Galese distribution still fantastic. If he loses that too, I see no reason to start him. Jeffrey yo, I think there is a lack of passion and leadership in our team. I could be wrong, but it seems that no one is fighting for the club, for the badge. OC needs to light a fire. Thank you, Jeffrey. We'll discuss in just a second that he's 39, says Gnocchi for Thiago Silva. His son still played for Chelsea's academy. That's right. Misael Rosa, I know that was Papi's intention, but one goal lead is not good enough for this team. I totally agree with him, 110%. Johnny Rittner, why is Mason showing up on Twitter? I don't know. I don't know. I'm not even.
We're not going to
You got.
speculate on that.
Yeah. It's not. I mean,
We don't know anything about what's happened, so we're going to
yeah.
wait to
So
hear officially from the club and the people that are involved in that
that's right.
situation. We don't want to speculate.
So let's put the video here. So everything was great. Brecalo,
Oh, I really hope
Dagger.
Brekalo is not permanently injured, man. We
Hopefully
we
not, but
need him.
it didn't look well. I'll be honest with you. I've seen a
Ah,
lot of. I've been in
yeah,
these games for many. It didn't look well, man. Now, hopefully, I'm wrong, but it did not look well. And I think this is the goal right here.
great
Yeah.
cross by Faku, using a bit of speed.
I
You
mean,
know,
Faku had in the first half. He had a huge game. He was scored as a 7.1 on SofaScore, and I think on FOTMob he was like 7.0. Um, you look at the guys that I'm gonna say is like, get a little excited, guys. These guys up front right here, they're like, it's going like, come on, man, need some excitement right there. Like, look at that, So I think Facu did great, but obviously, I think we're gonna miss Duncan. I mean, Duncan is still a vital part of Orlando's offense.
I mean, imagine if he'd gone to Blackburn, where we'd be now.
We'll be,
Yeah,
we'll
exactly.
be fudge.
Yeah. No, I mean he's stock. Like he's gonna go. Like I
I mean,
can't
he,
not
he's
see him
he's
going in the summer. Some people want us to shift things around and make him a DP, but I don't think he's gonna want to stay even if we make him a DP. I think he's like, look, I want to go to try see if I can do it at Europe while I'm still young, and he deserves that. And I think that the way that he's handled that whole situation and the way that he's just kept his head down and carried on scoring and doesn't care. He's proved he's not a one-hit wonder like some
he
people
just
thought
needs
he
a
was. He's he's the real deal, man. And I wish him the best. I don't like his agent. I think that's very
no.
obvious.
I think his
I've talked to
agent
him
when
many
he
times on Twitter about how
look
I don't like him.
look
Um,
people in the
so he needs a
internet
better
could.
agent and a better deal, but he should go to Europe in the summer. And I even for us, I think if it was me, I'd go.
I think for the national team, it's and for him, I think he deserves it. For him, he's definitely a, a really good striker, and talent like that, it cannot go unnoticed. If he goes to Europe, I think he's definitely poised to do that, and I think Orlando is going to do the right thing. That's just what I think for the player. But yes, I do agree with you. I think when look, there are certain things that when you are an agent, when you're in the press, when you are, you do this thing like we do, right, John? You don't want to piss people off, and there's times that you have to take, and you have to just let the fans talk. You can't. You imagine if I would engage in responding every single thing I read, it probably wouldn't be really good for me. so I think his agent, when he engaged with fans, I just don't think it was a good move on him. Don't you think, John? I think that totally made even Duncan, people think that, oh, why does Duncan have that agent, right?
Well, I think that's you just shouldn't do it. It's unprofessional. Don't
It's
do it.
unprofessional.
Don't. And
Just don't do
I
it.
think there was something there, frustrations about the fact that he wanted certain assurances for Duncan that he was going to get starts, and obviously we were already like, hey, we're bringing in a nine because he was going to leave. So it was like the agent wasn't happy. Duncan clearly like wants to play more, but he's done it again. Like he's found his way through, and I think all hats off to Duncan for that. I would just say, you know, maybe step up your game in the agency department. Get yourself a guy who's not putting your desires and needs on blast on social media. It's not something that you see from professional agencies, in my opinion. And I know these things because I have several friends who are professional agents.
Yeah.
Um,
Dennis
so,
Chin.
well,
Dennis
Dennis
Chin.
Tim being one of
He's
them,
a
yeah,
phenomenal agent.
yeah. So that's the kind of thing I would say to Duncan is just have a think about who you want to be handling your future because that's what it is. It's his
Yeah.
life, and a better agent will get him
Oof.
a better deal. And there's several British agents I know that have connections with the club. I know British agents that have connections down in Miami, all over Florida, connections with USL, connections here and there. So Duncan can find himself a better agent in this market. It's not like this is the only guy available to him.
Now
So
this
I hope he
this
does.
right here was a disallowed goal by Duncan McGuire. So let's look at this. So you got Faku right there, and they go for then you got Martin. Look at that vision right there. Boom. And the finishing is just impeccable, man.
Martin with that left foot, man. He can
Yeah,
just
man.
those deadbolt like when every time it's like a big curling left foot hook from Martin, he just such a nice ball.
Yeah, it was a banger. Like the whole wall erupted. I was right there. It was amazing. And then unfortunately, it was he was slightly offside. Slightly offside. But if that would have been, let's say, if that would have been a goal, a legit goal for Orlando, we would have been talking right now about a win. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I still think we would have thrown one goal away. I think it would have been 2-1 the other way.
Yep.
But yeah, I just think the way that we go defensive was too soon for me. But I was looking, Luis, to see when the subs came on, and I was looking at the momentum, and it's exactly as you thought. Those three subs around the what was it, like 55th? Yeah, early in the game, early in the second half. Our whole game after that just dropped off a cliff.
Yeah.
We
Yeah. It
went
was.
defensive. We sat back, and I
Yeah.
do blame Oscar for that, but also I think the players before he relied on them to like see out games by doing that, and I think this year they're just not able to do it. I think if we sit back and we invite multiple chances from the opposition team, they're going to score because we're just not. We don't have that same level of determination and grit this year to stop them.
Yeah. They're not withstanding defensively 90 minutes.
No way.
At a certain point, it's kind of like a cake that that you use too much flour, it just falls. Like it could stand for like 45 minutes and then it just deflates and just goes, we
Like
can't have that. We need to have consistency within 90 minutes.
that's a good example. We collapsed like a souffle. That's what you're talking.
Go like a souffle. Yeah,
Like a
exactly.
souffle that went bad. Just
Yep. Johnny Rittner says, "Thank you so much, Johnny. Appreciate it. I wouldn't it if it would have been on Twitter. Thank you, Johnny. Appreciate that." Stream Jesus, we are not TMZ guys. Yeah, no, we're not. Calling OCSC. If that offside goal would have counted, I will add $1 million to Duncan's prize. There you go. That's a good comment. Christopher Bryden, Orlando should have the talk and let Duncan ultimately make the decision. I do feel that Orlando should make a bid.
wait, would Duncan qualify? No, he can't do the U22. I was just thinking about the rule changes. Maybe there's something there that we could do now that we weren't
Yeah,
able to do. Like if the club really wants to keep him, they're gonna make a good effort. But I think
yeah.
Duncan has already made his feelings clear. I think that he made his feelings clear in January. He's just been on a 6-month hold. Like honestly, I don't think he's gonna want to stay, and I don't blame him.
No, well, I mean, yes and no. It
What do you
depends on the
what do you
player.
mean? You think it's just like the money was enough for him? I think he's got more ambitions than staying in MLS personally. I think he
Oh,
wants national team and he doesn't see a way to do that in MLS.
true.
Or old
I
beer
could
holder
see it.
loves,
I
you
could see
know,
it.
he,
Beer
he
holder
he's competing for that spot. I mean, like the Olympics is
with
different.
Balogun.
The Olympics is different, but if eventually he wants that, like if we're talking about him being a real star, then he should be looking at getting to Balogun's level. And he's not going to do that in MLS. Maybe he
Yeah,
will. Maybe. But he
yeah.
needs to be
No,
tested at a higher level, I think.
I agree with you. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think as a team, we should have been prepared for this to be happening. And
And he's going to go
let
at the Olympics anyway. He's definitely going to be in the Olympic squad.
yep.
So he's going to be
So
gone for that anyway. So we might as well get used to him being gone.
now I would say this because I've heard other people talking about it. People leaving for Copa America for the team. I could tell you right now, Gales is out, Cartagena's out. Cesar Araujo won't be called out because Bielsa, I mean, you have to understand Uruguay is a small country, but it has so much rich players.
I don't
Bielsa Bielsa has to pick and choose. He has so much options.
I don't see Faku going.
Araujo's not going, and I'll tell you right now, yeah, he just said it. I think Facu's not gonna go.
No.
I'll be very surprised if he goes.
Why? If I was Bielsa, why would I take Faku Torres right now?
Because I know Bielsa too. I know Bielsa would not take it. I mean,
No, he
Bielsa
wants.
sent him home.
Yes.
Facu was, and I'm not talking s about Facu. I'm just saying the truth.
Yeah.
Facu had 2 games scheduled last break to play with Uruguay, and then at the end of the first one, Bielsa came up to him with his entourage and said, "Hey, bro, go back to Orlando, bro. We're okay right now." He did not play the second one. He came to Orlando sooner than later. So,
There's
and that
so
to a
many wingers.
player, I mean, that to a player is devastating, man. So,
There's so many options, like you said, Luis. Too. It's like you're gonna pick the wingers that are scoring and playing well and for their teams, and that's not Faku right now. If you have 6 wingers and 5 of them are scoring, and the other one is Faku Torres, you're not picking Faku Torres.
yeah. Now, you know, we already seen the goals. I'm not gonna put. I don't think the B-roll here has that's Nico coming in right there. Great effort, but he just got cooked. That's just my opinion.
It seemed like Oscar asked him to play deeper, or I don't know if he was just
Yeah,
doing that, or we
like
just looked
right there. There
so
you go. You
so
have
deep
Muriel going in for a transition. Look, you got Muriel going for a
to win
transition,
the ball.
and then you got. I mean, that right there, Facu. Come on, bro.
He, it was like, look, you're on your left. You got to hit that top bins. He just hit it like too lightly. You got to score that.
Like, look at that. Look at that passing. Like they all want to pass. Like just tiki taka style. Like look at that. Boom, pass, pass. Like that's so annoying. Like come on.
Yeah.
So I just feel like it's like they're playing Rondo in a real game. You know what I mean? It's like they're playing Rondo. They're
I think
playing
that's
the
Oscar's desire is at home for us to be like a possession base, patient, play it around a lot, wait for the opening kind of team. And the first half, we didn't look like that, Louise. Honestly, the first half, we looked a lot more direct. There was like long balls into Duncan, balls over the top to Faku. Like we were way more just direct at them. And the second half, it looked like we tried to play keep ball and tiki taka our whole way through the rest of the match, and then it got to a point where we were losing so much confidence that we couldn't even do that, and we just kept giving it back to them.
All right, so let's put some of the words. You guys can go to our YouTube channel right here, Loud and Proud Orlando. We're live right now. Thank you so much to the 10 people watching on YouTube. Appreciate that.
And we got
So
81 people on Twitter watching as well, or
yeah,
X.
thank you so much. Yeah. So right now, if you go to our videos, we have it all timestamped for you. If you truly and we know people have been taking our videos and using them on TikTok. Thank you so much. You guys can give us some little credit,
You could
just
tag
saying.
us.
Yeah, you can tag
if
us,
you're gonna
it's
if you're gonna
okay, it's
rob,
okay.
just tag
I
us.
know, I know how it goes. I know the streets. It's okay. So right here we have tell of the tape. So we have obviously what we just played, but then we have Oscars. I like to break down what Oscar says because he's been in the spotlight lately, obviously, and we'll discuss the fans explosion of what's going on online, right? But we got the takeaways of the loss, what happened with the mentality of the team. Probably that'd be a good thing to play right now. Let's see what he says.
Mike.
Oscar, last couple of games, you guys have come from behind to get wins and draws. This game, you guys are playing with the advantage. How do you feel that the mentality is different from your perspective, whether the team's coming from behind, fighting to come back, or holding on to the lead?
Well, we can read all those things the way we wanted. it seems like we were a team with a lot of courage on the last games when we bounced back and then we find our results. And today was opposite after we spoke during the week about just open the game and this just be winning. But it doesn't tell us that the game is complete. It's 90 minutes and you have to do the duty during the whole thing. It's not who will start winning or not. We always want to be an advantage. But today, with that urgency that we come up in the first half and just leading the result, we end up losing it. So at the end, I think it is more complex than that. I think we need to find answers to be a team that is solid, that can conserve the results, or can open it too. I don't think it's either one or the other. I think it's both. We need to open the games and know how to close them and win the games.
Well, so
I think they're like often we hear Luis that he like Oscar will cover for the players, or he'll be like, "It's my fault. I need to work on this. I need to work on that." This one, I feel like yes, it was his tactic to like go and close the game out, and maybe we were inviting them in too much, and tactically he got the subs wrong. But also, I think the players didn't, like we said it before, they aren't seeing out games regardless, right? Like we're not being able to. The only defensively clean sheet we've had was against Austin, and they did nothing. So if you attack us, you're going to score a goal this year. So, and I don't think that's. Yes, I blame Oscar for the tactics, but I blame the players for not doing
executing
it on the field. Like they haven't,
Right.
and they not just this game. Like Dagger said in that interview a couple of weeks ago, like why are we conceding so early? Great, we didn't concede early this game, but we conceded late. We need 90 minutes of concentration. I felt
That's
like they
right.
switched off at the end, Luis. I feel like they really did.
So I'm gonna say hello to the people on Instagram: Fabian, Jackson Downs, the real Polish tsunami, Ted Gary, Ozzy, Senior Macaco, Landing. Thank you so much, Landing. He says, and we play Miami in 2 weeks. I agree.
Yeah.
Real,
The
100.
the road ahead, Luis, does not look pretty.
Yeah, say hello to Rhino, H. Lopez, Colin Gusk. There you go, Colin Gusk. Thank you, man. What a player. New OCB acquisition. Thank you
Congrats
so
on
much, Colin,
your
for watching. Congratulations, man.
congrats on your professional debuts.
Astra Pride. Thank you so much to Astra Pride. Mundo Manya. Also, FC Barcelona fan club from Lima, Peru. Thank you so much. one of my one of my high school friends, also Antonio. Thank you so much. Appreciate for watching. So, going back, let's read Colin's comment here. It says, "Do we think Facu sees eye to eye with Pareja? There was a rumor, turmoil, frustration early last season too." So I'll be honest with you. I'm gonna tell you this right now. That was that was like colloquial. I'm just gonna say a colloquial word. Fake news. That was taken out of context. That was fake news. Fake news. Taken out of context. They speak a Spanish that it's not a South American Spanish, and it's just taken out of context. He was talking about just them having a little bit more grit. He was not talking about him and like doing a revolution in the locker room doesn't mean that they're going to do a revolution and coup d'etat the head coach. They're saying he wants a revolution in the heart, to have more heart, to have more grit, to fight back, to be that team, which is what they're lacking a little bit right now, John, right? So that's the revolution he talked about. It was not about him going against Oscar. So I think it was taken out of context. I confronted it, and then people started getting butthurt. I'm sorry. I know I just said that. Started getting butthurt about it. Oh, Lewis, like you're being this and that. But it was completely taken out of context. Extreme Jesus, Luis La Vaca Muriel. There you go. Come on, man.
The Jungle Boys, we're here.
There you go. Thank you, Stream Jesus, for putting the people. people. Okay, so Oscar also said and talked about what's happening with Pedro Galese, and he replied this.
It's been a rough start to the season for Pedro. 17 goals allowed in
Tough
8 games.
questions.
Not all his fault, but it's been a bit of a slower start of the season. Is there anything you've seen from him that's been different that might be contributing to that? And how do you see the team defensively turning things around going forward?
Right, it's a very wide question on defending, right? And try to singular a player just to resolve the circumstances is very unfair.
So he said, singling out a player, it's unfair. Translation. So from the get-go right there, Kyle, which is the guy who made the question,
Yeah.
just told him straight up, I'm going to stick up for my guys. You know what I mean?
This is a collective thing. Whether we're attacking or defending, this is a team that if we're not defending well, we all not defending well. And when we score goals, including Pedro, is part of the thing as well. Now, it's normal that individually the confidence drops when we cannot bounce back and just trying to get out of that hole. And you see that we had these 4 results, but today it is a must-win game at home. We're leading, we get in there, and then you can see 2 goals. Is immediately it just create that hole again. And
so he's saying it's his confidence, right? I mean, he's seeing that Orlando's losing all these games, not able to hold the play. Like a lot of the back line is now holding, not holding the result. And, it could be that where it stems the frustration of Pedro too, that he is human too. I mean, getting nervous. He gets out of sight, out of mind. I don't know. I know he's a professional and he should excel in every single level. Doesn't matter in what position he's in. But I think that's what Oscar's trying to say. I don't know. What are your thoughts there, John?
I agree. I think you don't want to completely blame Pedro and single him out, and it's not all him. Like we said, he has been part of the issue, but that's the same. Like Oscar said, as everyone is accountable defense. We look more at the back line and the goalkeeper, but often the ball is lost in midfield or lost up front, or that causes the issue in the first place. We need to defend from the front, and we need to make sure that we're solid, and that starts from the very front all the way back to Pedro. I do think it's interesting, like he said, that we had like 4 results. Like we forget that we did go 4 games unbeaten before this game. So I'm not saying this is good. I'm just saying that we have to look at both sides, right? We were going okay the last 4 games. 2 draws, 2 wins. It would have been nice if there were more wins in there. But then the way that this loss happened at home, crap in the bed at the last minute, you put yourself back in a hole, like he says, not only for the players' mentality, but the fans went from like, okay, we're starting to believe a little bit to, okay, throw the entire thing out the window. So that doesn't help. Like I think if we'd have won this game, Luis, and I know we didn't, but if we'd have won this game, would we even be having like this in-depth discussion? Right? We would just be like, hey, look, we won another one. It's 5 unbeaten. We got 3 wins, 2 draws. That's how this thing is on a knife edge, and it went the wrong way this week. Next week, it could go the right way again. We don't know. I think sometimes people are like very doom and gloom, like it's all over already. And that kind of bothers me a little bit, because I'm like, yes, it's not started well, but there's still a lot of season. We could still make the playoffs. I think sometimes the overreaction is too much, and I understand why it comes, because emotionally I was very frustrated. Everybody's frustrated watching that, but sometimes I think people go a little bit too far, and they make it like they feel like they've been personally attacked because the players failed to defend the last 2 goals.
Yeah, and that brings to obviously Stream Jesus says El Gordo y la Flaca, Muriel Embrecalo. There you go. Colleen OCSC, David Break a lot. There you go. Thank you. Orlando City fan frustration. I mean, it's sometimes I just feel like I don't know if I should laugh, I should get upset. I should just let it go. I let it go like Frozen. Be honest with you. I don't engage. I know better. But you know, it's look. Again, I come from a place where soccer is like super passionate, and I totally understand the frustration that may be happening with a lot of the stuff that we're going through. But I also know where I stand, and I also know what type of league that we are. And yes, there's expectations of greatness for us to be at some point the best team of all time, the best team in the world. But there's a process, right? And kind of like trust the process, right? So it all takes time. Now, yes, we're going through a bad slump right now, but I've read, and I know a lot of it. I think it stems from trolling and just trying to be like, I guess trying to be a voice or something, or a so-called voice for everybody, and it doesn't pan out that way sometimes. I think it's just sometimes just it doesn't really matter if you're right or wrong, or it's I think you're going to develop more on that, John. I didn't want to take your chance, and then after you say your piece, I could say my piece. Go ahead, man.
I I want to say, Luis, that when I joined you and Loud and Proud Orlando and doing
That's
all of
right.
this,
That's right.
I was very excited to be, because for someone like me who was never really able to speak my mind about the club, like because of my parents, because of the fact that they founded the club, because of the fact that Kay worked there, still works there, and was an owner, and she no longer became an owner. And I felt like it was okay for me to come out and say my piece, because I feel like I want to be able to be out here and speak my mind, whether that's good or bad, Luis, right? Whether that's up or down,
That's right.
positive or negative.
That's right. Yeah.
I think for me, it's just I always call it how I see it, and I think you tried to do that too. I think sometimes some people would see us as, the really positive guys, maybe, or like the they might call us the happy clappers.
The
And I
cookie
don't.
cutter.
Right, they think that we're happy that we're not winning things, and they think we're happy because where we are, and I don't think that's right. That's not correct. We are frustrated and upset like everybody else. We just don't always agree with the way that other people express their opinions. And it's not about being right or wrong for us. Like, it's not. We're just making, and I tweeted this. We're making like educated guesses based on our experience in soccer, our experience in Orlando City. We don't know the answers, and no one knows the answers. So if they tell you they know the answer, they don't. They
Yeah.
don't at all. They're just guessing, like we're guessing. And I think honestly, Luis, like I want to talk about the Pappy in and Pappy out thing. And I know it's controversial, and I know people might get upset
Sure.
that I talk about this, but this is going on in the world of our community here, and I think it's important to talk about. So the Pappy out people that are very frustrated and very upset, and here's the reasons why they're frustrated, and I agree with a lot of this. They have high expectations for the season. So far, terrible. DPs are all underperforming. Home results have been poor. There's just a general exhaustion, Luis, of like Oscar's tactics and watching us trying to get like a 1-0 sit defend. There was other things going on. There's stuff going on with the ILF, with a situation there with one of their members, Laura, that has not been resolved. So there's animosity against the club for that. There's also an issue where the players didn't go over and like clap the wall. So some of the wall people are upset about that. Those are like pretty valid reasons to be upset. I'm not going to argue that. I just think there's a difference between being upset for those reasons and then wanting like Oscar out just because you really don't, like, you've had enough of Oscar. And I think that's the difference. Like the Pappy out people they're just done. They just want Oscar gone. They want to see something new. And so every time we lose, they're going to use that and say, hey, we lost. Oscar sucks. I want him gone.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. It's completely true what you say, and I've consumed. I typically don't consume any other things, or watch or read any other things. But what we do, honestly, because I don't have the time. Be honest with you, and I don't have the time. But it's true. When we win, they cut their bits to 20 minutes.
Well, and that
But when we lose, an hour and 13 minutes, 2 hours, man.
well, that's the
Fucking
thing.
marathon.
I was
Marathon.
I was enjoying going on Den After Dark after, the podcast, after the shows, to go on there and talk and everything. But honestly, I don't really feel like I want to go on there anymore because certain people are, I think, quite disrespectful to other fans and their opinions and how they think. And just because they don't agree with you, people decide that they want to, express their opinion in a certain way, which I don't think is respectful. The Pappy and people, we're frustrated too. We're upset. We're annoyed. We just look at it differently. Like we remember what happened last year, and we're willing to have a little bit more patience. We're like understanding that things don't always go right and doesn't always work out. And we're like, okay, let's get better. Let's figure it out. We're not like throw it all the way.
People
And I'm not
people
saying that
also
one is right and one is wrong, Luis. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't
yeah.
it doesn't matter where you sit. What matters is that you at least like have the decency to respect the other side's point of view and not just like trash them as if they know absolutely nothing. Like
Right.
if you're a Pappy Out person, fine. That's who you want to be. I understand that. But don't like attack other fans because they don't agree with your point of view. I don't do that. I shouldn't do that. If I do that, call me out on it. But that's not the environment. And this goes back to what I was saying before, Luis, about me joining the pod. I was really excited to be part of the community that could do this. And honestly, some of the other people in this community, and you all know who I'm talking about, and I'll tell him to his face if he wants to come meet me. Like, I don't like the way you talk to other people. I don't like the way you talk to me. And I don't think that that's something that I should just sit there and take. So I tweeted a couple of weeks ago, at least, I'm done. I'm done being nice to people who are not nice to others. So I'm putting it all out there. If you want to talk to
and you
me, I'm
have,
here. I'll talk to you.
and not only that, you're not alone. Number one, I've bit my tongue through transitioning from a lineup here at LPO. We changed. Obviously, people dropped the pod, and they blatantly lied about me, my character, and who I am as a person. And I bit my tongue. I didn't say a word because that's what hurts the most. When you have a smile like mine, and you keep doing and you keep growing, that's what f's them up even more. And I know the game. This is not my first rodeo. And I'll be honest with you, sometimes it's tough to bit your tongue, and a lot of people may realize this and may not. Do you think that do you think the players don't have internet?
It's not even the players; it's the way fans talk to other fans.
I'm just saying.
Like,
Well, yeah, but also, and what, you want them to clap you?
I mean, I think there's
just putting it out there.
There's a question around whether, I think they expect them to come and clap every game to the wall. So that's why when they don't, it's like, okay, you've done this now, so you should do it.
But they're ashamed.
I think in the context of what happened, I think they just didn't want to face. They didn't want to face them. And you can be like upset because you're like, okay, I want them to face them. But also a good point that somebody made, I think it was, I can't remember, somebody on Twitter, they said that, they don't go and clap everybody else in the stadium. And I know the wall is the wall. I get that. But in Europe, like in a lot of places, they go to like all four sides of the stadium. So, it's different in different places. But I understand that there's upset because they didn't do it this game. But I also understand why they didn't do it. Like,
no, I mean, look, I think it's nitpicking. I'll be honest with you. I know I may sound really harsh, and it's like that. I think it's nitpicking. I think it's, with all due respect, look, they feel ashamed of the horrible performance they made. And look, I come from South America. You see that flag right there in the back? That's from Alianza Lima, and I bring it up again. They have the worst record in Copa Libertadores' history. They are the joke of South America in Copa Libertadores. But I'm a diehard fan. I'm a fan of the badge. I'm a fan of the team. I'm a fan of culturally, they stand as a team. I am not a fan of the result. If I would be a fan of the result, I would have a different flag right there. But I don't, because I feel very passionate about that club. Internationally, they're garbage. But I'm still there. I'm still there. Now, that's just my opinion. Again, people differ opinions. They come from different backgrounds. But for example, you would imagine how annoying I would be as a communicator, as at LPO, or as maybe just a journalist, always saying, I've been watching soccer for 30, 40 years. I come from South America. I know what I'm talking about. How annoying it would be if I keep bringing up Peru this, Peru that, Peru this. I don't do that. I'm not trying to change the league. I'm not trying to change how. I'm not trying to become an owner of Orlando City. I'm just here to report on what's happening with the club. And honestly, the whole point of LPO and what you wrote here also, John, is like, we're here not for me, not for you, not for any other gain, which I know there's people that have completely trashed my name making stupid fucking videos. I'm gonna bring the F word right now because it's frustrating and I'm letting all out today, right? Lying, and I have proof. Now, I'm not going to bring it up because I think it's petty, but maybe I should be petty some days. But, they're saying that there's ulterior motives. No. They think that Mike Ramajos' job, my job, Alonso Contreras' job, they've said garbage after garbage that we go there just to eat the fucking cookies, that we don't do a good job. How dare you mess with our job and our passion and what we do right there? Who the F do you think you are that you can think in your mind that you can actually go ahead and criticize? You can criticize whatever you want, but I'm there. You're not. There's a reason why you're not there. And I am. So I'm just going to keep it like that, right? We're here for the fans. We're here to be a positive influence in the Orlando City community. We're not here to pick fights or do anything like that, but I do feel very strongly that we're here for you guys, for the people that are watching, for 111 people watching us right now. We're not here for our own personal gain. If I would be for our own personal gain, it would be a completely different sentiment. Like, I wouldn't be, for the past 2 seasons, and I never bring this up, for the past 2 seasons, 3 seasons, I've been driving from where I live now, because I moved from Orlando after my first year covering the team. I moved from Orlando. I moved near the Tampa area. I've been driving 2.5 hours to every match to bring every single piece of content possible for this pod, for the Orlando City community, and I don't have to say it. You imagine how annoying I would have been saying, hey, I've been driving every year, making myself a victim. I'm not a fucking victim. I'm here to do my thing, my job.
I think that's the thing, Luis. Is like I don't feel entitled for this team at all.
Exactly.
And
whatsoever.
If I don't feel entitled, like I have some kind of ownership over this team or how it should be run or whatever, then I don't think anybody else should. Like, I understand that we say it's for the fans, and that's something that my dad used to say all the time. This was a soccer club for the fans, but it's also a business. And that's what sometimes people forget, that yes, they want to put on a good product. They want fans. They want to build a culture, but also it's a business. So they're going to make some decisions based on the business. And that doesn't mean that they're not listening to you. It doesn't mean they don't like you. It doesn't mean they're ignoring the fans. It just means sometimes the club decides what they want to do based on a business decision, not always based on what they think the fans want best. And that's a balance that every soccer club around the world has to get right.
Do you think, like, this in the soccer world, ultras, and I'm sorry to say this, sometimes like the fans control what happens in the club? It doesn't happen that way. There's a process for everything. And again, I'm not trying to downplay people's opinions, but I hear so much stuff that is just out of proportion. Like, comparing the club to Manchester City and Chelsea. And we are the MLS, guys. We're in the MLS, Major League Soccer. Yes, we want to be the best club in the world at some point, but we have to also understand where we stand. We're Orlando City. We're doing things our own way. We have a front office that it's not. I'm sorry, but we will not be able to get a Messi, but we certainly will have memories with a Nani and with a Kaká. But we're not gonna get a Messi or a Ronaldo. Like, now, I know that sounds tough, but it is true. We are a different type of team now.
We're a
Right
different
now,
market more than anything,
a
Luis.
different
That's the
market,
thing.
and those matter. And just because I'm this and that, it doesn't matter. Like, fans are allowed to be frustrated. Fans are allowed to be frustrated, and we've always been very, very keen to acknowledge fan frustration here.
I'm
But
frustrated, Luis. I'm
I'm
very
frustrated
frustrated.
too. you know, like,
That's
I
what
have to
I'm
rip.
saying is like it's not like we're not annoyed. Like we're not here being happy. We're not happy that we're performing this way. We're just not also calling for Oscar's head. There's a difference.
Yeah, we're not here. Who else is gonna come after Oscar? Who's do you feel somebody from the J League, somebody like Jose Mourinho? Who's gonna come? You think that just because you've coached in a different league, you can come to the MLS and just completely be as a star coach? It just takes certain amount of not only investment but also level. Now, I also been hearing about how, and that's what I'm saying. I know this gonna sound so bad, but I just want you guys to not to kill me, but it's something that I truly feel inside. I see a lot of passive aggressiveness sometimes. Like, I remember messages in the beginning of the year, the Wolves, great management, even other outlets, oh, the Wolves. And now,
Oh, we lost Luis. Maybe he'll be back in a minute.
oh,
There we
sabotage,
go.
sabotage.
We
Sab-
lost you, buddy. You're back though.
we're
Sorry.
sabotaging me right there. No, I'm just kidding. No, they're saying, oh, the Wolves, great people and blah blah blah. But then I also hear and I also see and I also read, they're like, they don't want to win anymore. Maybe they bring the Vikings. The Vikings, when's the last time they've been in the Super Bowl? I was like, come on, bro. Yeah, you can mix. You cannot act like this is the NFL, bro. This is soccer, bro. This is a complete different beast. Now, so decide. You love the Wolves or you hate the Wolves? Like, I hate when people are just gray area. They're not black and white. Like, it's crazy. Right here, it says, you act like Papi is the only coach. There's better coaches. Same way we found Papi, we can find. Yeah, okay, but who are you gonna bring right now?
I think even the
I'm just saying,
argument
it's
of
good.
who
It's a good argument. I think it's a
for,
fantastic argument.
forget about who for a second, right?
Yeah.
Just think about this. Oscar is where we're at right now.
Right.
From that point, yes, it could go up. Like you could find another coach and he could magically make this team much better. But it could also go backwards. It could not happen. Like we could find another coach and he's even worse. And also this year, if you're saying if the decision is made to get rid of Oscar, it's basically saying the season is over and we're starting again and rebuilding for next year. And I don't even think they would find, like, unless you did it in the summer and you were managed to bring someone from Europe. If you're looking for an MLS coach, they're all like employed, like ones with the experiences, they're taken. So maybe, I said, Luis, if there's a point where we are mathematically not making the playoffs, that's when I see it happening in the season. That
I agree.
The Wilts would be like, hey, Oscar, sorry, but we're not making playoffs. It's time for you to go. But remember, they just signed him to a new 2-year contract. And I don't, like we talked about, I don't feel like the Wilfs are, I think as long as Oscar makes playoffs, that will probably be enough for them. Whether you agree with that or it doesn't matter, because it's the Wilfs who make that decision. So if playoffs is enough for them, then Oscar's going to be here for a few years. If they're like, no, Oscar, we wanted you to be a top 4 team this year, then maybe that'll be enough and they'll get rid of him. It's all about how bad this year gets, or good, depending. And when, what, like last year, Luis, what are the stipulations in his contract that he should be hitting? What is the aim? What is the expectation? And if he doesn't get that, then the Wilfs will probably do something if they care enough to do something. If not, they'll let it roll and try again next year.
There is no promotion or relegation in the MLS. So that in itself, it tells
9
you
teams make the playoffs, Luis.
There's no promotion or relegation in the MLS, and 9 teams make the playoffs. That's the answer right there. So I mean, what you the fans are going to change now? They're going to do pro rel? Like, that's what I'm trying to say. It's like pointless bickering. It's like, honestly, and again, I know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pointless bickering. Like, right here, this is here. Nobody in the MLS knew about Wilfried Nancy a few seasons ago. Wilfried Nancy was in Montreal when I'll be honest with you, a really terrible team. He turned it around, and he's a top 3 coach in the MLS, just like Oscar Pareja. Oscar Pareja did the same thing with Orlando.
You could roll the dice and maybe find the next Nancy, or you roll the dice and you find another Jason Kreis. So that's all I'm saying is, like, the idea that the grass is greener is not always the case.
Now, how many years did Arsene Wenger manage Arsenal?
Like 20 something at least? A long time.
Are they still Arsenal fans?
Who?
Yes. They're still Arsenal fans, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So they survived. Right. So I mean, if people can withstand 20 years of Arsene Wenger, you're gonna come here and just that's the way I see it. Like, I understand people want to see a catapult of us playing like FC Barcelona. They want to hate Miami with a passion and laugh in Miami's face and things like that. But there's 2 different markets. Even though it's within the same state, it's 2 different markets. And so, yes, I can understand why it's frustrating, but I also see a lot of divisive rhetoric. And I'm going to say this, and I know people don't like that word. There's a lot of divisive rhetoric. And I stay quiet. I actually taken a huge backseat, but it is divisive.
I do stay quiet most of the time, Luis, but sometimes I feel the need to say something because I feel like there's not a lot of people that are vocal. I feel sometimes like one side shouts very loudly, and maybe I need to shout loudly for the other side sometimes.
Like, people say, oh, we were better with like, I've actually read this. We were better with Flavio. We were better with Phil. I understand, but that's not. I mean, you can't go get into Trunk's time machine.
Okay, I want to say for a second, we're not better off. Like, we're 100% better off now than we were with Flavio. Under Flavio's ownership, there was no investing. It was just keeping the status quo, keeping the club alive, just keep maintaining the situation that we were in. There was no investment. Since the Wilfs have come in, there's been a serious amount of investment in both Orlando City and Orlando Pride, by the way, just to mention. So I don't think that I understand, like Victor Rosa here says, like, the Wilfs can be good owners, but they don't want to invest in a winning team, the Vikings. If they brought in Nico to be a savior, the proof's in the pudding. Okay. I don't know if the Wilfs actually have like hands-on touching of players coming in. Like, I think that's really just our decisions. And they're like, here's your budget. Go buy who you want in the budget. I don't think Mark Wilf is like sanctioning the Luis Muriel signing. So I don't think the Wilfs specifically are to blame for any of the signings. I think they've given ample budget to the team. And I think that the GM and the head coach have had what their resources that they've asked for. I don't think the Wilfs are withholding anything in terms of what the ownership is providing. I just
No,
think
it's just
it's the plan has not gone well, honestly.
but people don't realize that Orlando City has always been a team, even with, and I want to say a phenomenal job at Ricardo Moreno and Luis Musi, even though people may not agree right now and they want to like go with pitchforks to them, because I saw some of the comments people put on Ricardo's post on Twitter when he tried to actually put out the fire. Ricardo tried to put up the fire today, and then he got like, rear-ended right there, and he did not respond, which I commend him 110% because of the type of person he is. I would have said something, but then again, I'm just me. Uh, I don't agree that they brought Nico to be our savior. I agree with what John says. It was another piece in the puzzle with an added core. I guarantee you that even the coaching staff expected that this whole team that have been together for over a year are going to outperform last year's thing, and so they only needed core players. Now, Orlando has never been a team that's going to go, got money and you know it, take it on your pocket and show it and blow it like bah. They've never been a money team. Low cost, high reward. Look at our signings: Ivan Angulo, Martin Ojeda from a small team in Argentina, Facundo Torres. That's our DP. So it's that way. Like, just look at the way we sign. That's the way we sign. It's just the way it is. It says, I can handle our results. It says Daniel Phillips, being in the playoff fight, but this league is competitive. But I would like to see a more entertaining on field product. We play ugly and scared. It's not entertaining.
I agree. I think that's where the frustration of watching Oscar's tactics for so many years, and that's a lot of fans just baseline of like they're bored of watching this version of Orlando City. I can see that. I'm a little frustrated by the fact, majorly frustrated by the fact that we have repeated last year and we've not made that step forward. And I do majorly blame Oscar for that. Although the players, I think, are not performing, like we said, Luis.
Yeah, the players are not panning out from one
yeah,
season to another. They're down performing,
for
right?
sure,
I mean,
for sure. I just think it's not going to be fired right now. So
yeah.
yeah.
Derek S. Nico was brought in for veteran leadership. LOL. That's right. The budget must be small. It is small, probably. I mean, it's like, there's several markets. I mean, we can sit down and talk about markets and things like that. A lot of people ask, and I've heard it and I've read it too. Oh, back in Europe, like teams are run in cooperatives and in communes, and everyone has a say in the future of the team. Here, it's only the owners. The owners make the decisions. That's the way the football is run here. Where you're gonna change how the multiplication table is made. You're gonna you're gonna go ahead and now all of a sudden change the pyramid of Giza. Like, come on, it's impossible. I mean, you're just anyone. You're not Don Garber. Oh, Don Garber is a crook. It's like, geez, it's never ending, dude. Daniel Phillips, the risk takers in the fan base are ready to try something new to try to get to the next level. The more conservative fans are afraid we will regress. Neither side is evil, but they'll never agree.
I
think
it's a really good comment from Daniel.
Yeah,
I agree. And I think that's to my point, what you were saying, Daniel, and I'm saying there too. It's just like we have other sides. It's not like really bad, but let's at least respect each other's opinion. A bare level of just like, okay, I don't agree with you. And I think Colin is in here. I saw him having a really great conversation on X this week with Gnocchi, and there's a lot of like mutual back and forth, respect, understanding. Like they're having a discussion, but they're not in each other's faces and being aggressive about it and making it personal. I think that's the difference. Sometimes people here want to make it personal.
Right. We can have different opinions and different ways of things. Like, for example, my way, what I'm saying, it does not discredit what Daniel, what Victor, what Derek, what everyone in this chat is saying. I'm just a normal dude, just like you guys. I don't know more than you, neither you guys know more than me. But unfortunately, online, there's people that believe that because they are from XYZ, they've done XYZ. Unfortunately, they override or they feel that they're like the voices of Orlando City, and they're not. They're not. Clearly,
No
they're
one
not. If
is the
not,
voice of Orlando City.
correct. No one is. Is the team. The team makes their own voice.
The
Let's see here.
wall, if anything, the wall is the voice of
Exactly the
Orlando, or
fact.
like the whole stadium.
Right. So says Facu is not DP worth it. Average MLS player at best. Well, yeah, I
Right now, yes.
right now I could agree with Victor for
But
sure.
maybe Faku will
But
turn up again. Maybe the DP Faku will get here. We don't know. Like, it's a long
but
season.
we've seen a little bit. I will say a 2% improvement in the past few games. We've seen a 5% improvement. I'm gonna give him that. But yes, I could agree with Victor. But I do want to say, you also have to see he was a great role player in Peñarol. He never the man was Canovio, and I'm gonna say this again. You know, it says, "I'm not upset with your spending. I feel the big money guys have been letting the team and fans down." There you go,
And
Derek
that's
S. Don't
sorry, Luis, on that point, is that's MLS. You have to hit on your DPs, right? And we thought we had good DPs last year. This year they're not being so good, but hitting on your DPs is how you have success in MLS.
Don Garber is a rowdy, probably. Lewis, you definitely no. I don't, Daniel. I'm just like everyone else. I don't tend to be a know-it-all, or typically I take everything lightly. I really don't get anything upset me.
You
Derek
definitely know
S.
more about Peru than I do, Luis. I'll give you that, buddy. And I probably know
Yeah,
more about England than you do.
of course.
So
Then that's and does that make us the spoke people of the fan base? No way. I think the fan base has its own voice. Derek S., I've told a lot of people I don't claim to know anything. I just enjoy the team to be one or two people to go to all playoffs and CC games. There you go. He takes 3 months to get going every season. It's okay. Just saying we can count on this guy to be the face of our club. There you go. Reasons to
I
be still hopeful. Do you feel like there's still hope?
yeah, I think, we turned it around last year. MLS Cup is like all about peaking at the end of the season. We know there's talent in this team. We saw that. We just need to get it firing again. We need to get this team figure out the defensive and score more goals on the other end. It's not like their talent just disappeared. It's there. And then there's always the Leagues Cup. I don't really like the competition, but it is a competition and we will be in it. It's another chance at a trophy. So I don't think that everything is completely over. I do understand the frustration based on the expectation for this year. That's the biggest thing, Luis. There was so much preseason expectation, and right now it's looking like we're not going to win anything this year. And that's what a lot of people want wins. So that's why
The
they're
league.
willing to throw it away already.
We'll still have the League's Cup, but I don't think the fans like that, anyways.
Yeah,
That's fine. I mean,
the old Leagues
I
Cup
get
that nobody wants to go to, apparently.
right. Again, I totally understand that, and I guess I want to wrap it up too. Um, Everyone's entitled to their opinion. Every single opinion diverted here today and in every episode of LPO, I think it's they're within the right of speaking out. But obviously, forcing your opinion on others and just being obnoxious, it doesn't work. It's off-putting. Respect that we all see it a little different, right? And we can discuss and have the discussion. I know John is very active. I just put memes and I I put the crying guy from the meme, wah, right? Um, but we can discuss this without killing each other because we all want the same thing. We all want Orlando City to win. That's the whole point. And we all love the club and love the city. I love Orlando. Like I'm bring it again. I grew up like the best. I pretty much after coming from Peru at 14, my whole life was in Central Florida. I went to school Olympia High. I worked on iDrive. I, I've done it all. I've fell in love in Orlando. I've got brokenhearted in Orlando. I used to go to Pine Street. I used to go to Back Booth, watch hardcore punk shows. I used to go to the
Backbone.
Social. I used to go to Uncle Lou's and Mills. I used to eat pho on Mills Ave also. Viet Town. Like, bro, like I know Orlando. Like I love Orlando. Now it's more to me than just Orlando City. It's what Orlando represents. Now, then again, you can call me, oh man, you just, but it's just my opinion. Again, says I love memes, playoffs or side duck. We're definitely going to be get back into the fight, but I hate that we've been disappointing these huge home crowds. We've got to capitalize on the work that the front office is doing to the game. I agree with you 100% there. I think that's bad. That's
Yeah, and like I
terrible.
wouldn't say Jared and the like this is why
21,000 people saw Orlando lose last game.
Luis, when people say front office, it really bothers me because I think a lot of the time when they say front office, they mean like the executive coaching team, like the GM and the head, like that. But there's the front office in my mind is the actual business side of it, that Jared and his team down. And now what they're doing, I think, is incredible work. And I think that they've done a great job, like Daniel says, in getting people back in the stadium. And it's just a real shame that we're having games like on Saturday where there's, like you said, Luis, how many people there, and
21,000.
we do that, and then how many of those people are gonna, with their first timers or kind of interested or casual fans, are then gonna be like, well, that was stupid, I'm not coming back.
Yeah, and that's what's upsetting, right? And that's what's upsetting. And also, I understand the frustration. That's why I really don't engage and stay like on my lane. It's because I understand the frustration because it's their 10th year anniversary in the MLS, right? And obviously, we coming from a fantastic season. The past two seasons, where I will say they were very positive. Winning the U.S. Open Cup and all of that, and obviously your 10th year anniversary in the MLS with a beautiful jersey, we potentially are having a rocky road that we may not make it, right? That far. And so I know why the fans should feel like, in a way, a little cheated because, obviously they just spent $100 on that jersey. They're driving to, buying food for their kids to go to the game and making all that time. So, like, trust me, I totally understand, but some of the stuff too I read, it's just like, it's like me saying Lukaku and Grealish are gonna come to Orlando City. Go on, I mean, it's like completely far fetched, But there
Let's
you go.
read these last few comments and head out of here, Luis.
It says with the fans, what you're playing for. This is professional sports, just entertainment. Says Victor Rosa. Thank you so much, Victor. Thank you for the show, boys. No, thank you so much, guys. Victor Rosa. It's all good. I listen to the show every day. I just don't share your opinion. I honestly would love Papi to be the man for the job, but the fans need something to cheer, and this ain't it. Well, 131 people today. We really broke the internet today, John. These
I
are
was say that's exactly. Thank you, Victor, and thank you everybody to come and give your opinion. And like we said before, where you don't agree with us, you agree with us. That's fine. We don't mind. We're not here to say who's right or wrong. We want to have a conversation. We want to talk it back and forth. You guys give us so much insight on your opinions and what you think, and often that's sometimes things we haven't thought of. And just having this conversation, Luis, with everybody is why we're here, right? We want that community. So thank you to everybody who's here today. Thank you if you're watching. Thank you if you're listening later. All those people that listen, I know on Apple and Spotify, you are also part of this conversation. Even though you might not be here live, you support us just by listening later. So thank you to everybody.
Well, we want to thank you. Tomorrow we have the Pride Pod. So, with unfortunately some tough news, but we'll discuss all of those on the Pride Pod. Also, thank you to the Zone Heads. We're gonna have the Zone Heads on Wednesday as well. You can check our social media, Zone Heads, Brendan Kravitz and his group there. So appreciate that, and we'll see you guys on Thursday, right? For the preview of Cincinnati, a must-win game now. Now Orlando's forced to win the next three, which are super tough. It's going to be really a rocky road. We'll discuss all of that more in full. Thank you so much for your support. And vamos Orlando. Thank you.
Vamos, Orlando. Stay positive, guys.
Be positive, guys. Take care.